Greetings. We are north of the Broad River, Lingerie. We are right here, and it is the St. Helena invasion. That St. Helena invasion. That's what's going on here. I came across the water. Queen Quet just finished talking to her, and she had said they had tried to put the walls up to stop the spirit, but they can't stop the spirit. They cannot stop the spirit. Nobody can stop the spirit. It's here. It's with us. It's in our fibers. And so, yeah, they tried to put the walls up. They couldn't stop the spirit. So I'm here. Bringing the madness. That's what she said. They didn't want to bring the madness. They did not want the madness on St. Helena Island. But guess what? The madness is here. It's here. And I just finished talking to her. We had a great conversation. So again, the St. Helena invasion is in full effect. Brought it from Savannah and Hilton Head. Yeah. A lot of y'all in Savannah from St. Helena Island. And you don't bring that up. Oh, you bring it up when it's at an opportune time. An opportune time, you bring it up. But some of y'all shied away from talking about your South Carolina connection, being from Pritchardville, being from Bluffton, Hilton Head, Defusky. Now, some of us, though, we understood the importance of that, and we maintained that because we were having those connections always. See, our families, as I share, folks, did not sell land. So we were there in the fields. We were there at the fishing co-ops. We were there at the docks. We were right there. We were on the boats. So we were a part of that. We were there right there on the beach. So it was a part of our world. So we lived in that world in the city and also on the island or the coastal towns. That was our experience. Oh, same thing applies to coastal Georgia. Some don't want to acknowledge those coastal Georgia ties. Again, Savannah or Darien, Meridian, Brunswick don't want to identify those ties. Same here, or Needwood, Petersville, yeah, or Woodbine, Kingsland, St. Mary's. Didn't want to identify with it, but it was essential to who you are because guess what? Some of us who embrace that, we have a better concept, I would tell folks, than a whole bunch of other people when it comes down to us knowing our story about who we are as Gullah Geechee people. See, it's not anything foreign to us. We don't have to listen to somebody go and tell us something about who we are. We can go and spit it out and say, as a child, we did this right here. As a kid, we did this right here. My grandmama did this. My daddy did this. My auntie did this right here. Or my uncles did this right here. So, yeah, we brought the vision here. And for some of you may not know this, but I used to hear my people talk about it. I never got to experience it myself, but I saw one right across from my grandma's house there on Hilton Head on Squire Pope Road. It was the Praise House. Oh. See, you all know about the church. As my people say, they say inside the church, the table tapper, which means preacher or minister in Gullah, the table tapper is in charge of the church. But inside the praise house, all of us are equal inside the praise house. Yes, this is true democracy, true communalism right here. Africa being alive right here in the Americas, in the United States, this part of the Americas. So right here, everybody inside the praise house who was a member had a vote inside there. If you are a baby to an elder, all of you, from the children on up, everybody had a vote inside the praise house. Equality right here. This is where we're going to see the ring shout. Again, the ring shout, which you know is an African performance tradition, which is the oldest in the entire United States, done right inside the praise house. Then the shout itself, that polyrhythm, done right inside here, because you got to have wooden floors inside the praise house. Now, this is the thing. St. Helena has 2 praise houses here. Other locations have gotten rid of them. In Savannah, I pretty much don't know of any praise house in Savannah, in Chatham County. There may be there, but I'm not certain. Praise houses, wipe them out because, see, y'all were too good for that. Hilton Head, there's no praise house that I know on Hilton Head. Maybe one, but not on Hilton Head. There was one that they said that was in Bluffton. Said there was one in Bluffton. On Defusky, they tore down the praise house on Defusky. Tore it down. Somebody who didn't have full understanding tore down the praise house on Defusky. Just throwing it out there to you. So here it is, something that's germane to us, to our culture and our history. We didn't have an appreciation because sometimes people who were not from here, like I said, people did not understand our story, had the stuff torn down, had it destroyed, had us not put any value on it. But this right here on St. Helena is one of them. You got one on Coffin Point. You got one at Eddings Point right here. And so this praise house allows us to tell our story. Now, How you become a member of the Praise House? You got to do something called seeking in the wilderness. And I have a video where my mom is telling my class about seeking in the wilderness. And we're going to be showing that to you all about that, how you do the process of seeking. But once you went through that process of seeking, you now became a member of the community. This is tied to something else called rites of passage, because this is also what's happening here. You have a rites of passages that happen for African people. Yes, Gullah Geechee people did this from the 1700s up until the mid-1900s. We stopped doing all of that in the mid-1900s because we became educated. We turned our backs on Africa. So I'm so thankful that here on St. Helena that they still kept the Praise House here and the other one. So again, we can see a part of our story right here. In fact, they used to have someone painted with some blue on it, but it's white right now. Y'all know about haint blue. But again, honored and be right here at this Praise House on St. Helena Island, which is a part of our story. Oh. Show you how this is, again, part of your fabric of who you are, your fiber of who you are, your DNA. Because what happened after the Civil War, they had something they called during the Civil War, they had something called the Port Royal Experiment, which was done on Hilton Head Island. And they were saying they had to look and evaluate whether African people could handle themselves with regards to having freedom, because they govern themselves. And so they looked at it, the whole world's looking at Hilton Head Island now, looking at Hilton Head to see, can these black folks govern themselves? Of course they could govern themselves, because we had the experience inside the Praise House. Because this goes right back to Africa, communalism, or democracy, if you want to call it something like that. So again, we're doing that right there on the continent, and we're doing it right here. Again, from the 1700s, and I had to dare say, and some people probably been the 1600s, 17, 16, 18, 1900s. So our ancestors already had it in them to know how to govern themselves and govern a people, a race of people. That's right. And the Praise House, as I tell folks, is a part of that foundation. Most historians don't even understand that. When they talk about us and the culture and the Port Royal Experiment, they don't understand that element at all. But again, the fabric, the seeds were already inside us, and based on the Praise House, that still maintain a part of Africa in our minds, our hearts, and our souls. And here on St. Helena, they're still maintaining praise houses right here physically for us in our minds, in our hearts, and in our souls. Peace and blessings.